Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the ATCEN Talks series, where we run our webinars, where we bring in personalities to knowledge share, primarily for the community, all right, and for the business community, for the corporate community, and for individuals. So the purpose of this ATCEN Talks series, this is the fifth of the 20 that we have planned for this year. Right, and what we're doing is we're looking at topics that are of interest to everyone that will help you grow as an individual, as a team, as an organization, and even as a company itself. Right. So that's what we want to do here. It is a very open, casual session where we would like to engage and just interact. As opposed to just a presentation. Right. Of course, we have with us Dalina Daut, from AirAsia. We'll let her introduce herself shortly. And I will affectionately call her D, because we go way back, we go way back, right? But I will talk about that shortly, right? So as part of the ATCEN Talks series, allow me to share a little something here. Okay, we do this as marketing and also as service for the communities that we are in. All right, okay, and let me just go ahead and share with you a little bit as to who we are. Okay, so ATCEN as a whole does a lot of consulting work, and we do corporate training, of course, capacity building and corporate events. Okay, and the topic of our talk today, of course, will be the crucial role of social media in customer experience and also businesses in the new normal. Right? Challenging time, but we'll talk about that as we move along. Okay, all right. So we've got D, and you see a shirt. You can ask her about that afterwards. All right, it's a fantastic shirt. It's like a super. I call it the superhero uniform. At the moment she puts that, right, and she's like, wow, gung ho, pure guest focused, pure CX focused. All right, it's like a uniform. It's empowering. Okay, I get excited just looking at that shirt. Okay, not anything else. Please, I'm married and happily married. Okay, all right. So, but it is a great looking shirt. Okay, all right, and this is part of the talks. So what we do have is we do have a contact center customer experience programs that you can contact us. We do management development workshops also, and also public workshop calendars. We have a public workshop that's running. The next one will be the coaching for high performance and the sales champion mindset. And of course, the managing challenging customers. And that's one of our staples. We are also part of Punjana. We Punjana Kajaya. So we have different programs in the contact and experience, the customer experience space. All right, that is covered by Priteso. Now, okay, so you can actually get trained for free. All right. Okay. We also do another program. And this is for the growth. And this is under HRDF Punjana. Okay, and this is entrepreneurship masterclass. Very in line with what we are talking about, which is online. How do you become an online entrepreneur? You can contact us for any questions on this. Okay, and aside from just the corporate trainings, we are also very in touch with the environment. And also we have programs where we work with our partners, where it's an eco and also a food-related program. Okay, where you invest in food and grow with food. All right, and this is where the direction we're heading. Okay, so as far as the topic, goes, all right. Oh, I forgot. My name is Ken Ng. Hello. Okay, as you can tell from the name there, my name is Ken. All right, I am the managing consultant for ATCEN. Okay. All right. So for the topic today, all right, we are going to be looking at the crucial role of social media in customer experience and also business in the new normal. All right, now a lot of areas are covered in just that topic alone. The CX, the business roles, the social media, and also the new normal. All right, so we will try to keep it as focused as possible to the social media aspects of how it helps your business. Right, and I see a lot of customer experience individuals in this room right now. Right, and it will be very much related to that, I suppose. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask and check with us as to some of the queries that you may have. All right. So again, do type your questions in the chat. All right. And at the end of the session, or somewhere along that, we will do an open mic. We can unmute everyone. All right. And you can actually physically ask questions. Okay, and verbally ask questions to D. All right. Okay. All right. To not delay it anymore. I would like to introduce our esteemed guest today. Okay, our esteemed guest is Ms. Dalina Daut. Okay, affectionately called D Daut. Okay, and what we want to do is we would like to invite D to share her experience with us as to what she's done in the social media and customer experience space with all the different organizations. Yeah? I've known Dee for many, many years, right? And she's such an endearing character. There's so many aspects of her which is so fascinating, and she's such a fantastic individual. Plus, very, very knowledgeable. One of the most prominent individuals within the customer experience space in Malaysia. Yeah. Okay. With that, Dee, why don't you just give us a quick introduction of yourself? All right, and then we can get things rolling. All right, go ahead, Dee.
Hey, Ken, thank you so much. And guys, thank you so much for dialing in for my session. And I think you oversold me, Ken. Yes, Ken and I came a long way. I used to tell Ken that, we had our hair used to be black until it's turned gray, but at least I have the opportunity to cover that up, right? So thank you, Ken. So yeah, I guess that I am still in the industry for, I think, more than 20 years now. Please do not gauge my age. I'm still 26 at heart. I would like to keep it to just that. Yeah, so, it's from the analog time, when people do not know what call center is. People still use PABX and PBX and key telephony system to where we are right now, right? So I have gone through that journey, and I do had a lot of opportunity and experience and learning with some of the organizations I've worked with, namely MNI, Malaysian National Insurance, formerly known as ATCEN, and I know billing, like, when we were young as well, right? Billing used to be my colleague in ATCEN. I was from VHL as well, Farah, but I probably do not know you. You probably came after me. I was with HSBC serving the Australian direct banking. That is the most longest tenure I've ever been, more than 12 years in Australia. And I was with PayPal, and that's where I guess when I was in PayPal, that was about 5 to 6 years back, and I think that's where the transformation or the move to go for digital started in the West, majority in the US and the UK, and I think that's where we got a gist of it, and we can see a lot of people actually moving towards digitalization, and how our customers, majority the youngsters, right, the Million X, would prefer non-voice channel. And Farah, I can see Farah was nodding her head because she was with me along the transformation we did for PayPal. And after PayPal, I took a break, a very long break, from work. And here I am now with AirAsia in terms of pursuing, what's automation all about, what's technology all about. And like I said, Asia is always my last founding love, because this is where I really wanted to be, because if you want to know about technology and all that, we're still learning, we're still adapting, and there's so much to learn in Asia. So pretty much that, Ken. Back to you.
All right, great. Thank you. Thanks for that, Dee. Now, in addition to that, in the transformation and experience that Dee has, right, in the digital space, right, she is also an excellent individual and a leader. Right now, a lot of the people that we've spoken to, or I've spoken to as soon as we set up this session, right, now immediately pinged me and PM me and said, "Hey, Ken, well, I know her. She used to work with me. Yeah, she used to be my manager. She used to be my colleague, right?" And very, very endearing. Right, and one of the standout elements of Dee, okay, and I choose to say I oversell her, but it's true, right, is really her leadership qualities and really how she approaches her team. If you can, Dee, I'd like you to talk a little bit about that, because as we move along the customer experience journey, I know, all right, that you always combine these two elements, the people aspect and also how you integrate that with the digitalization. All right, okay, to reach out and best serve the customers. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how you view leading people and working with your team. Dee, go ahead.
Okay, minusing what Ida said, that I make her cry because but I like to develop I would say young leaders, and the first question I'll ask is that how successful you want to be, or how knowledgeable you like to be in this in becoming a subject matter expert, right? So if you want to know that much, that these are the series of I would say you have to endure a certain change. And some of the change is probably the way you think, the way you look at it. Because to me is that, you can say 2 plus 2 is 4, but I can also say 3 plus 1 is 4. But by the end of the day is that how do we, achieve that common goal? And I always allow it to my team. I said, this is the checkpoint. This is what you need to do. These are the activities that you probably need to come up with to get to that. But this is your objective, and this is the timeline. So a lot of coaching, I guess, a lot of conversations, and along the journey, I guess that these are the people that would sell you for you. And we do keep in touch. Like Farah, for instance, I still keep in touch with her. It's been 6 or 7 years now, billing on and off. I see her. I still keep in touch with her. It's been 20 years, man. Yeah. So I guess that's how you build your legacy. And by the end of the day, you're still in the network. You still can keep in touch with each other. And life is about continuous learning. And I do learn a lot from these people as well. Like you need to be humble as well. Like, there are certain things I learned from these new young leaders, right? I learn a lot. Like, I've got my team here with me, Floyd and all that. I learn from them, and I guess that they're not afraid to speak up their mind about their feel about certain things. And I think I allow that to happen. And I really listen to what they say and, meet halfway. Like, there was one time I still remember I was doing I was in PayPal at the time, and we were doing a paper in trying to understand how do we deal with these millennials. And I hope that some of these in this group are around my age also. But how do we deal with millennials? What do they want? And who are they, right? And studies shows me that thank God that I'm a little bit more of Generation X, that you can actually adapt with whatever age gap or whatever group that you're in. So I guess that millennials, what I learned is that they want to have that sense of belonging. They want to have that sense of engagement. They want to feel that they are important, and you need to make sure that, what I learned, right? I mean, I could be wrong, but you got to make sure that you provide these avenues to these people, these kids, because by the end of the day, 20 years from now, I'm not going to be working past 10 years, but, these are your protege. These are the people who's going to leave after you, right? So, and how you adjust what you learned 20 years back to become more upbeat and, continue to be relevant in their next life journey. So yeah, basically that's about it, Ken.
Yeah, fantastic. In fact, I look at you in the way you've always carried that kind of energy. Yeah, you're perpetually a millennial energy kind of an individual. So
like I said, 26 all the time. Yeah, it stopped there.
Right, and you don't even need any kind of drugs or any enhancers, performance enhancers to have that
no.
energy. All right. Anyway, okay. So having said that, let's jump into the topic and jump into this area. Now, this area is so wide, and there's so many areas that we can talk about. Right. And what I want to do is to make it more relevant to the individuals in this room right now.
Sure.
Okay, now, so everybody is joining in here to probably want to get something answered or want to learn about something, right? So what I would like to do is I'm going to take the next minute or next 30 seconds at least, right, for everyone to just type in the chat just a single word or line of what you would like to hear and what you would like to learn, right? We'll see what we can do to just try and address that. So that way it's relevant for everyone and you don't waste your time in here. Yeah. So we want to make it as relevant for everybody as possible. All right. Okay. So the next 30 seconds, everybody in the chat, go ahead and type. What are your expectations? What would you like to hear? And what would you like to see, learn from this? From this session. Okay. D, no pressure. Don't worry. Okay. We will cover it if we can. If we can't, then we'll see what we can do to address that. All right. Go ahead, everyone. Thank you, Floyd. We've got customer experience in the digital age. Yes, absolutely. Project management. I think along the lines, we'll talk about how we manage the transformation or the digitalization process. Yeah. So we will definitely touch on that. All right. Okay. Latest or new trend of customer experience. My God, we will never stop talking. So many new things in the pipeline and so many new things in the horizon in terms of customer experience and trends. Yeah. But that's okay. We'll touch on that also. All right. Not an issue. Okay. Customer experience, how to stay on top. Wow. Okay. You are at the top. Hey, congratulations. Yeah, congratulations. All right. So if you're at the top now, how do you want to stay on top? All right. Very good. Okay. The difference of social media customer experience in the new normal versus before this. Yeah. Okay. So what has what has transpired? What has changed? Yeah. What have the people? What are customers' expectations? Yeah. In terms of the new normal, how is it different? Okay. We can talk about that. All right. Latest trend in contact centers. Okay. All right, contact centers. Yeah, okay. I think everybody is called an omni center now, or wanting to be called an omni center. All right, but okay. Latest digital trending. All right. Okay. CX related to Industry 4. Wow. Okay. All right. It really depends on which perspective of Industry 4.0 you want to look at, because Industry 4.0 from the Malaysian perspective is mainly focused on manufacturing. Yeah, manufacturing, also the SMEs. All right. But okay, let's talk about that. That's all part in line. All right. Okay, future of SOCMED, all right, very interesting. Yeah, how can we change customers' mindset on digitalization and looking at non-voice channels, okay, and customer experience in the new normal. Okay, fair enough, all right. Okay, good. I think that kind of shapes what we want to talk about. Actually, it's actually very in line with what Dee and I were talking about into planning this session. All right, we had gotten together to just shoot some ideas across and say how should we approach this to have to create the most beneficial platform and most knowledge sharing enabled platform for everyone. Yeah. Okay. All right. Expectations of customers to adapt the new normal. All right. Very good. Okay. So it looks like we've got a few different perspectives here. We've got we've got the organizational perspective. Yeah. We've got the individual perspective and the external perspective. Yeah. So maybe we can frame it that way. Yeah? All right. So from an organizational perspective, maybe we can talk about the organization as a whole. All right, and in terms of digitalization, the industry, okay, and then we'll talk about the individuals, and how are individuals affected, and how do we adjust ourselves, right, into this so-called new normal, okay, and of course, customers' expectations and the external view, right, from looking at customer sat, and from looking at what kind of feedback we do, what are their expectations out there. And then ultimately, we will touch on what's in the horizon as to moving forward. What do we see in the customer experience plane, right? Like moving forward in the industry itself. Yeah? Okay. All right. That pretty much shapes up a 4 or 5 hour webinar. Unfortunately, we only have 2 hours. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will try and fit everything in as best as we can. Yeah, as best as we can. All right. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. And let me just throw a question to D. All right. Oh, we have another point here from Sal. Hey, Sal from EPF. How are you? Okay. Skills for CX professionals. Absolutely. No issue. All right.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, yeah. All right. So let's talk about the industry as a whole, and talk about customer experience in digitalization as a whole. But I think let's touch it from digitalization, and AirAsia has always been in the forefront of technology. Yeah? You have always been pushed to the front. It's always either by force or by choice, right? You have always been very advanced. Okay, very advanced. Yeah. In fact, I remember, I was so mad. AirAsia, this before your time, Yadi, right? Before your time, okay? I was so mad that I can't call AirAsia anymore, right? They were the first ones to take everything offline into chat. Okay, in the chat, yeah. I don't know if you all are old enough to remember that time where they took off. There's no contact center to call AirAsia on.
I was the one behind that, taking away that call center, Ken. So sorry. Like.
Okay, all right, everybody. Now I'm angry. Okay, we are canceling the webinar. Oh, you were? Okay, all right. I didn't know that. Okay, anyway, all right. The time I was working with an outsourcer, and the outsourcer had the big AirAsia outsourced to them, and it got taken away, right? All right, okay, anyway. All right, so in terms of the digitalization journey, maybe Dee, you can take us through a little bit, not go back to the old days, but more so of how you see the digitalization has changed, or where we are right now. Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so I guess in terms of digitalization, and I can see that majority are Malaysians market. So we're just going to relate that to Malaysian market, right? I think there's a lot of awareness, right? And I can see from the questions are pretty much spot on questions, and we're getting there. Like there are questions, especially from OE, will AI will take over customer service? You know, I think that's a spot on questions, and you're thinking about digitalization already. So I think that, you know, when you think about digitalization, it's about, you know, don't look at, you know, look at people as well, but you know, you need to look at, you know, what, don't get, you know, digitalization for the sake of getting digitalization. What is the purpose of your, you know, of your true reason for you being digitalized, right? So let's say, for instance, you know, just look at the business model, like, you know, do you have any redundancy in terms of the work that you do? And by the end of the day, you know, being guest obsessed, because that's our pillar. I mean, for AirAsia, you're like, how fast can you get through to your guests, or to your, because we call our customers as guests, right? How fast can you get through? Well, the turnaround time from 14 days can be shortened up to 3 days. All right. And what tools and automation do you need? What aspect would you like to be digitalized? Is it customer frontier? Is it interaction that you're looking at? Or is it the process that you like to start off first? Right? You know, being called, you know, being AirAsia, you know, we're very agile and, you know, very aggressive in our approach, which means that we plan something today, we'll have to do it yesterday. Right? But yes, but you need to look at that, right? For instance, there's robotic RPA, you know, robotic processing automation that you can also be looking at, especially like, you know, a lot of documentation. I'm talking about claims, you know, like from you know, maybe from Ethica, like you can look at claims, submission of documentation. Could you use that, you know, RPA into your portal to cut short the submission? You know, it cuts down time where guests, you know, have to come to your place. It cuts down as well, right? And how you then use that benefit and sell it to the social media and say that, hey, we have this good news, we have this, you can actually do this. And, you know, ultimately you kind of like influencing the guests that having this change in this process, and how you can actually sell that through your social media and say that, hey, you know what, we got a past claim track. All you need to do is just submit this and it's all done for. So that is the processes. I'm just starting from, you know, from RPA perspective. Or are you a very cost oriented? As you know, that AirAsia is a low cost career, right? We are just low cost. We're not fancy. We're not luxurious in that sense. We need to ensure that we're very cost oriented, and we got to make sure that, you know, we are keeping at cap whatever that our operating is. So we got to make sure that we're constantly making that change. So some of the digitalization that I can just quote with you that, you know, in terms of the processes, but like I said, bear in mind, your end game is that how can I serve my guests faster? So in the call center, when we shut down, or I would say that we have to close down the call center because the operating cost was 3 times or 4 times more than what we spend right now. Right? So that's what where we eat. And I think putting in mind when we closed down the call center, you know, we are looking at smartphones, and we did a study using Google Analytics, right? So, you know, what are your population of your customers? How many are using smartphones? And like, mind you, Malaysia is one of the countries that uses smartphone quite well. We're probably behind China a little bit, because when I was visiting China about 6-7 years ago, and I was buying a POW, right? And this auntie actually, you know, said, no cash, only QR code. And I don't even know. It's like, okay, I can make, and it was Alipay. It was Alipay, right? So it's at the street, and we're far behind from that sense. So, you know, what technology that you want to do, and where can you actually put all this technology? But I guess that one thing that to have in mind also, Ken, that you know, as you are ambitious in doing all this, you got to be very mindful where you want to start first, because as technology faces very fast, the innovation comes in 2 times faster when you want to implement something. So you got to do fast what is within your means and all that. I hope that answers some of the questions.
Yeah, absolutely. I like how you mentioned that you really need to get a gauge of what your customer wants, and really to be guest obsessed, you know, or customer obsessed, really to be reaching out to touch the customers and to engage with the customers, right? At the end of the day, no matter what digitalization you go through, I mean, we've been involved in many projects where people go digital. Why? Because everybody is digital, right? We have the project, we have the money, so let's go. Okay, but they don't have that focus and that vision clear, yeah, as to why we need to do that. So I like that. Yeah, I like that you focus and you mentioned that. But as let's say an organization who's beginning, yeah, on this journey of digitalization, or we are midway through digitalization, right? It's never too late, yeah, to find out and understand from the customers, okay, as to how deep of digitalization we should go, what are the best channels to use to reach out to the customers. So as you went through, from your experience, as you went through with different organizations, this digitalization process, right, what were the feelers that were put out to the customers and also the end users, and in this case, the guests, right, to best gauge, what was the best way and most efficient way to reach out and digitalize that customer experience function.
Okay, I'm just going to quote to the call center since you said it that you were one of the angry customers, right? So when we shut down the call center, we did communicate out, to all our guests through the social media that, from X amount of time, and we do that by section. And my team and I, we serve the region, right? So it's just not Malaysian alone, but we started off with Malaysia. And there were a lot of, when we did a study, we know that, guests wants to reach us fast. And call center, when it's a cancellation, or they could reach out to us, in 45 minutes, even 2 hours on the phone, waiting for someone to pick up the phone, right? So, and based on that feedback, we also call in some of our guests to do a walkthrough, and Floyd is one of those person actually facilitate the walk-in. We actually invite some of the guests to come in understanding the guest obsessed and what we can do. And one of the touch base is the channels, right? So and they were all complaining like, we can't get through to someone, it's too long, I'm paying for the phone bill, and based on that, and that's where we come out with, although it can be revolutionary and quite provoking, like shutting down the call center and moving on to fully digital, using only live chat and social media and our chatbot. I will speak about Ava in a couple of seconds. Actually, we serve much more guests than the call center had. Yeah, I mean, we serve much more, which means the missed chat and the abandon actually went way much lesser. And also our satisfaction ratio, regardless whatever time, we're over 90s. And our wait time, and I'm talking about non-COVID, we're less than 3 minutes in answering all these languages. So and we can see that in our satisfaction survey, in our first contact resolution, actually way higher when compared to when we were operating on call center. With, mind you, the cost is actually 200% lower than it before. That's the investment you get if you look at it. Yes, and of course we use the customer's voice to actually, work out the plan when we decide to make that change.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that. But what was fascinating is we always get this question, right? When you digitalize, you will lose that human factor. Right? But before we go there, Dee, what I would like to know is, like I mentioned earlier, AirAsia has always been on the forefront of technology, right? Do you want to take us through a little journey as to where AirAsia has been and how you got to where you are today, right? And what were some of the high points? Yeah, okay. What were some of the landmark movements or the implementations that you all did? All right, would you like to share with us that and give us an idea of where AirAsia is today and where to in the future?
Do you want me to show the slide, or can I just say it out loud, Ken? Would you like me to? I'm so sorry, I didn't get your question. Would you like me to show my slide, or yeah?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's jump into your slides and take that journey.
Okay, so I've got, don't worry, I'm not going to bore all of you, but I've got a very simple presentation to show, AirAsia in terms of a digital journey. So can everyone see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So basically how it started, definitely in 2002, where, AirAsia was the first airline to enable credit card through the call center. And it's also the same year. It was actually 1 year after the operation, kicks off. The online booking was also done on the same year. The following year, we took our first flight to Phuket, and that's the first time as well that, you know, we introduced a multilingual website. And also the same year that we won the KPA award, So in 2008, you know, fast track a little bit, you know, we'll be one of those that actually introduced express boarding. And also that's the same year that we officially launched our Facebook page. I think Floyd is very much proud of this because this is his baby. And at the same time, in 2013, and that's a photo down there. That's Irene Omar, our head of technology. So, you know, AirAsia launches our first baggage self-tagging service where you have to self-tag yourself. And that is the kiosk. I'm very sure most of you have actually patronized AirAsia, and that's the kiosk which is known for. But also at the same time, this is where Sir Richard Branson will have to do a stewarding job from this 237 from Perth to KL, and he was actually fully serviced on the airline because he lost a bet to Tony. I'm very sure some of you remember that show, yeah? Okay. Yeah, so, and, you know, the fun continues. We've gotten, you know, Taylor Swift arrive in, you know, in our Asia A320. And after a while, this is where the year where it all really started aggressively with our digital transformation. You know, we moved to our red queue. Ken, you've been there before, right? How much you like that, right? It's pretty awesome. And we've got a whole team, the whole floor for our tech team alone. But right now, all the tech team are actually based in KL Centra. And at the same time, we also started our digital wallet, which is Big Pay. At the same time, you know, in 2019, I came in at 2018, and 2019, where we unveils our most proud Ava. She's our AirAsia Virtual All-Star, and she's available on the website and mobile app. And she's also available on the social media as well. And that's how much AirAsia has gone beyond social media in terms that we are able to put our AI into social media. And at the same time, we launched our AirAsia.com to become just more than airline. You know, it's a one-stop travel platform that offers everything. And at the same time, right now, Ava would able to recognize you. She's on a single sign-on right now. As you can see on the right side, you know, Ava offers all the product on the AA.com, AirAsia.com. And you can see that, you know, she will able to recognize you and are able to log in. And once you're able to log in, you're able to identify how many flights that you have with us for upcoming one. And so far, she's able to recognize about 5 flights ahead.
Wow. Dee, if you don't mind, can we go back a little bit just to Ava? All right.
Sure.
The likeness of Ava. Now she's doing the clasp hands, the greeting of the Thais. Yeah. Is she designed or shaped after a Thai person, or because Ava has changed over the years? Matured.
Yeah, Ava. Okay, that lady does exist.
Oh, really?
Yes, and she's a Malaysian.
Oh, no, she's not a pure AI rendered individual.
No, she's not. But the purple is what Irene wanted. Okay, she likes that purple hair. So she actually evolved. This is a second prototype. Yeah, the first one was not quite, you know, I would say, pretty enough. So we kind of like evolved her into that. And that's after how many intake, we gave her identity. She's got an IG of her own as well. If you can check it out, yes. And she speaks in multiple language as well, yeah. And she's there, like, you know, she can take about 20,000 inquiries at 1 minute. At one minute.
20,000 a minute, yeah. Right.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
I don't know if you like to talk about it now or but later. But in terms of setting up this chatbot, yeah, I'm sure there's quite a lot of people who would be interested in that. Right, and you know, the trials and tribulations you went through, you know, to set up Ava, right? I'm sure. Can we touch on that later?
Sure, absolutely. I've got the whole team here to explain it to you because all of them were involved, right? Okay. So yeah, so I guess that I would.
Wait, one more thing before you proceed. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you. Yeah, okay. In 2008, with the self-check-in kiosk, yeah, I'll have to say, all right, that was one of the. No, I actually like it. I like it, right? Because a lot of people were very resistant to it because it was so used to using going up to the counter, going up to check-in counter and all that. But it was so much more efficient when people do it themselves, right? I understand. The All-Star ground crew had a major headache You're trying to educate people how to do it, right? But I saw it as an interesting move of digitalizing the individual, the people as a whole, right? Yeah, you need these drives to make people and to drive people towards digitalization. So there's no point digitalization your entire organization if the people are not ready, right? Okay,
True.
and so I saw that as a great push, to digitalization. Very much like one of the banks pushed everybody towards ATM back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. You just sometimes you just, sometimes that's what I like about Nike. Just do it sometimes. Just do it.
yeah, sometimes it is,
Just do it.
but you
Yeah.
also receive a lot of brickbats.
Yes, yes, you will, you will, you will. But we'll speak about that, Ken, how you manage resilience and how you kind of like put that to the guests and all that, right? So anyway, can I move on now?
Please do, please do.
Okay. So I guess the saddest part of our lives is when we grounded all of our flights in March 2020. And that was the saddest day of our life because when we decided not to fly, and it was that was actually the peak of the pandemic. Yeah, people are not flying, and there's no point of us continuing flying as well because people are just so afraid of flying, right? So and I think that was the time where one thing to be mindful as well. Just you thought that you are digitalized, check again, right? And always use the customer's voice to understand what exactly the customer is saying. And you know what? We rely heavily on the social media listening to really listen on what the guests are saying. And, majority of you probably, looking at how they were slamming Asia in terms of, where is my refund right now? And I guess that, I owe it to my team because they work day in, day out to get this through, right? So one of those that initiative that's coming from customer happiness alone, that's the department we call ourselves, is that we were able to do a same-day credit account redemption by Ava, which means it's actually instant. It's not even same day, it's actually instant. If you got your MIBIC member ID logged in and attached to your itinerary, you get your instant credit right away credited into your account. And we are super proud of that, right? And how we use that, and we get back to our social, we get back to our guests and really did a lot of promotion in terms of educating them that, hey, you got this, right? We got this now. Please resubmit again, and you got it instantly. And immediately, Floyd can tell you that our percentage of negative sentiment changed significantly to positive to where it is right now. Right? And that was the immediate impact, how we use social media to our advantage, making that change and give it back to the guests. And also at the same time, for our ground staff, we want to become more contactless. It's just not COVID, also beyond COVID. So we could probably have a COVID-20 or COVID-21, but we're prepared for that, right? So we use that as a benchmark on how we can actually improvise, our airline or traveling journey. We have our contactless kiosks. We've got our passenger reconcile. We also have, at the same time, we partner with Grey Matter to launch Scan to Fly. So is anything that you have a documentation, you can actually upload in the Scan to Fly to verify. So you don't really need to bring all your documentation except for passport, because that's require a global initiative from everywhere, immigration, to have that online. We also launch, really aggressively, work on our Asian Super App. And at the same time, our customer happiness team didn't sit still. We add on another platform, which is the WhatsApp, yeah. And now, thanks to Ava, we took about 41, almost more than 41 million chats yesterday with no additional help except for the cabin crew and probably the stewardess, because the volume was super massive and no way we can do that, yeah. And still able, yes, there's an impact to wait time. We used to be at 3 minutes, but it's becoming less than 15 minutes. There is an impact, but the impact is not significant to where it was right now. And I guess that these are some of the journeys that we did, and how we use, social media to kind of like improve our services. So from the airline perspective, you're not far off in being a fully digital. There are more initiatives to come. I just can't say what they are because I couldn't get a clearance to that, but it's going to be super fantastic. Yeah, so I think we're close in terms of airline. We're pretty much close to become fully digitalized. in terms of Asian Super App, we're getting there. We've got 15 types of product that we have. We got food, we got health, we got so much more. And this is where we are right now. So we use the website, we compress everything in, we got flight, hotel, Snap, we got free delivery shop. If you're interested, please have a look at it. Yeah, we got free delivery of food, and we got 50% off on fresh. So it's all into one right now. And in here, you got social media, you've got you got live chat, and you got Ava as well in each and every one of that, except for Big Pay. Yeah, that's pretty much where we are right now, Ken. I hope I did not put anyone to sleep yet.
I don't know. Is anybody snoring? Yeah, I don't think so. That was really interesting. Thank you, Dee. Okay. Thank you for encapsulating the 30 years into a few slides there. I know it wasn't easy. Right now, just to recap, now all of those services are available on the AirAsia Super App, right? The AirAsia app.
Yes, that's correct. Yes, that's correct. The only thing we're working right now for mobile apps is to be able to do your booking over your mobile apps. And we're now working on mobile apps to mirror what is the web is facing right now. So we're trying to do that. So at this moment, your credit account that you get, you can't actually book into your mobile app. So we're working on it right now. So in a couple of months' time, I think we should be able to go live.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I mean, you've gone beyond just being an airline, but you've actually become a digital company, right? And also with Big Pay, it's become fintech. Okay, we'll talk about agile, right? So it must be testing. So when it comes to supporting all of those, all of the changes, right? The team must go through so much. So thank God for Ava then, huh? She's a real lifesaver, isn't she?
We launched it late, as you can see in my timeline. We launched it. We fully launched it in 2019. We didn't know what is COVID-19 at that time, right? Can you imagine? Can you imagine when there is no Ava at a particular time, right? There's a lot of social media sentiment, as you can see. I'm going to be very open about it, right? Oh, where's my refund and all that. So Ava is built or engineered in terms of complying what the company policy is. Right. So let's say, for instance, you may or not be entitled to cancel your flight, or you may or may not fulfill a certain criteria before we actually refund that. And to be honest, 80% or over 80% actually feel satisfied with Ava. Right. She carries her own CSAT. So we not only put CSAT for our agent, we also put in a CSAT for her. So she has her own KPI. Right. So so we constantly improve and train her in terms of deflecting it. Right. So we look at, what is the hands-off? We call it the hands-off. Anything that's deflected to Ava and what Ava cannot do will be hands-off to an agent. And whatever that agent can do, there are certain things that Ava cannot do because of there probably be some complexity to that. So that's where it hands off to an agent. So I don't say that 100% it has to be fully digital, but there are certain inquiries that requires that human touch, and that's where the 20% of that still handled by our team. So yes, and I guess that looking after Ava to make sure that if you experience with Ava, you are happy with what she's doing. Whether the flows is good, whether the language that we use are perfect. Because when we experience, I think Floy and Shanti would know this. When we were training her in Thai, you can't just simply use a Google translation because you say something else, it says something else. So you want to think about what system you want to use. So that your Google translation, you try to avoid that, and what translation tool that you want to use so that your chatbot is also as perfect as a human. Yeah.
You know what I find really fascinating, especially with what you're saying when you talk about Ava. All right, I almost feel like she's a part of the team. I almost feel like she's real, right? And you don't treat her like a piece of software. You keep referring her to as her and she. She's got her performance KPIs, right? She's got her CSATs. Yeah, I think that's fascinating. Was there a journey, or how did you all create that persona, right? Where it became so entrenched, where everybody refers her to as part of the team now. Right?
Yeah.
Was there something you did consciously?
Yes, yes, absolutely. There's a lot of work to that because I think I just want to answer some of the questions that the people ask. Will AI take over customer service? Not really, but it's actually working hand in hand with technology. Yeah, working hand in hand with technology. So, to be honest, we didn't really, deflect or retrench our team. It's actually we're growing our team, right? And we just diverse them into from call center to use a live chat and social media. So there's a lot of fear as well in the team. Will Ava takes over our job? But I guess to come with it, to overcome that, again, a lot of awareness and understanding. Before we do that, we put our team into a change management process first. We tell them that how the change is going to be and how actually we position that, how they can actually benefit them as an agent, right? As an agent, Ava is going to help you, and you don't have to work extra hours. You don't have to, well, to some truth to that is true, because can you imagine during when we were hit by pandemic, the agent will probably did not have a day off if without Ava, right? So can you imagine? So they do see that. So there's a lot of not to say convincing, it's just a matter of realizing the fact that technology can actually save your time. Technology can actually give you that work and life balance. Technology can help you. So that's why we put in that we also position that Ava is also is an iBot, right? So we're much more intelligent than her, right? So she does what we ask her to do. So they are also involved. A lot of the agents were also involved in providing feedback. Hey, Ava doesn't do this. Ava, can Ava do this now? And they were all participating in the re-engineering process when we did, and they feel involved, right? Remember, I told you when during the leadership, they feel so much involved. They're part of that change, and they do see that hey, I made that Ava. I kind of like nurture or babysit Ava to where she is right now. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that really builds a sense of belonging, right? And it really puts puts a foot into the team, right? And to make her into a really live entity, isn't it? Right now, so if you look at the chatbot, when you talk about chatbot and how versatile Ava has been, okay, maybe we can touch a little bit on that, because I know for a fact, at least 50 or 60% of the people or organizations in the room right now are embarking on chatbots. Okay, now let's take a quick survey. Yeah. All right. Now I don't have a survey written out, but you can answer in your chat. Okay, with 1, 2, or 3. Right now. So whoever has a chatbot running right now, okay, type 1. Whoever is about to implement, or you've identified, but you haven't. Whoever is building, and enforcing and enhancing your chatbot right now, type 2. Okay. If you've identified a chatbot that you want to implement or want to start, type 3. Yeah, or say again, you already have a chatbot, developing a chatbot. All right, and 3 is identified and want to use a chatbot. Okay, go ahead. Let's see what they say. All right, so we've got one using, not using, identified, using. Wow. Okay. Wow, looks like a lot of people have just identified it, all right, and are going to take that journey, to develop the chatbot, right? I don't see any tools. Nobody's developing your chatbot, working with your chatbot right now, teaching it,
Porty train it, like train it, yeah.
Right. I know you're looking at it, you're like, you have no idea what you're in for. But as versatile as it is, I know there's a lot of work that goes into it, to ensure that the chatbot functions well. I mean, like you said, she can only do what we tell her to do, all right? Okay, or what we identify the chatbot to do, all right? So can you share with us the journey into developing a chatbot? What's the best way to ensure that your chatbot works well? And also, I don't know if you're able to release the brand or this software that y'all are using for your chatbot.
I can do that. Okay, so we didn't use a big player for chatbot. We use a very simple small company owned by a millennials in Canada. and they're cheap. Basically, they're cheap, right? I mean, they, like I said, you know, we're a low-cost career. We have a budget that we need to think about. We also look at, you know, how we actually build that relationship with them over time and how flexible they are in terms of our terms and all that. There are so many options off the rack right now that you can see. Google has their own, you know, what kind of design that you want to look at. You know, for instance, we want it to be interactive. So if you look at Ava right now, if you ask that, who's the boss? Who's the boss? Hang on a minute. Let me just, I really want to do this. Hang on, yeah, please. I really want to do this. Hang on, yeah. Just give me 1 minute before I answer. We still have time, don't we? Hold on, yeah.
Yes, we do. Yeah, I'm a bit worried because we didn't plan for this. Okay, so yeah, just as long as MC doesn't come after us. Okay.
No lah.
See how exciting our webinars are. Yeah.
Hang on, let me just share my screen. Yeah, I just make sure I test it right. So if you look at my top right corner, I put it who is the boss, and Eva says Tony Fernandez is my favorite all-star. Right?
Okay, okay. All right.
Yep. Okay.
You're pretty thankful. Oh, okay.
Yes. So it depends on the design that you want it to be. So basically, the provider were able to give us what we want. We want it to be interactive. We want it to be not just, you know, drop down option, but it's also depend on your organizations as well, right? And we wanted to take away 80% of general inquiries from our team, so that our team can spend more time in building revenue with the, you know, like, you know, getting more revenue and, you know, building more relationship with the guests. And right now, as you can see that, you know, we also have hotels, we have Snap, right? We have activities as well. So we want, in a long-term run, we want to make sure that, you know, we have that time, our agent, our team have that time to build that relationship with the guests and able to sell more and build more relationships, so that hence Ava or the chatbot takes away, you know, the normal inquiry like flight status and all that will be done by that. So in terms of the provider, we had a look at several vendors, and I guess that the vendor that we're working right now give us the best in terms of their services, in terms of their flexibility, in terms of their timeline, and they already have a module that they can just mirror off the record. Some chatbot would need to be, you know, built from scratch, but because we actually built from scratch because they don't have any other airlines under their portfolio. So we build that from scratch. But they also have other off-record, you know, companies that work with, they can actually copy and mirror, and you can actually work from that. And, you know, all you need to do is just train in the sandbox.
Yeah. I think that's the big key here, which is training the sandbox, right? And we
right.
want to share with you some of the triumphs and maybe some of the challenges that you had in training, you know, in training Ava. Right? What were some of the challenges that you had?
Okay, so the challenges I have when we were, you know, improving or training her is the language. We have that a lot. Like I said, you know, we were using, you know, a normal translation, and some of the languages will need to be retranslated back. So if you were to serve any other languages beside our 3 major languages that we have in Malaysia, then you got to be mindful of about, you know, what tools do you have. That's one. You got to be also being mindful in terms of the flow, because when you design the flow in the sandbox, you got to make sure that, you know, it goes or it ended where you want it to be ended. So you got to be very, you know, careful in terms of the dialog box, you know, what languages you want to use, what languages in terms of, you know, not bahasa, but what kind of persona that you want to create in your chatbot. Would it be professional, or you want it to be, because AirAsia is casual, is, you know, AirAsia is about fun. So hence that's why the personality that we give to Ava and into her languages that she used as well. Or it could just be a pop-up dialogue, which means that, okay, choose 1, 2, 3, you know, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. But when you do that, you know, does it get the engagement that you want, or would it get you to the service that you want to provide to your guests? And we test it again and again. And like I said, we use the survey because Ava has got her own KPI to improve from that. So it goes back to the data that you have to constantly improve that over and over again. And I guess in your organization chart, there is an opportunity right now, right? So someone who's have got the flair for technical, you don't really have to be technical because, you know, as long as that person can design a journey into your flow, you can do that and start small, like, you know, start small. You know, when I was in a, you know, the financial company before AirAsia, the number one was that I want to reset my password. Was one number one inquiry, you know, reset password. How many? Okay, so and we took 80% of our volume away, man. Like, you know, by just putting that into our chatbot. Sadia has a question for me. How much time that you need to train Ava? Is endless, Sadia. It's endless until it's endless. Yeah. So it's a journey. It's a journey. Depends on, like I said, depends on the call chat, or I would say inquiries that you have. So work on your inquiries. If let's say you got top 20, so that's where we started off. We started with our first 20 inquiries until it's fully deflected in Ava. We constantly train them, and we've got about 2 to 3 people that looks after in training Ava. And you know, having a chatbot means that it's a continuous training that you need until it's fully matured. I hope I answered your question, Sadia.
Yeah, but
Yes.
I know how difficult it can be because of all the different languages and the culture that you have to adapt to, right? And because of that, you know, do you have to tweak to the cultures and how it converses, how Ava converses with all the different cultures?
Well, that's one thing we learned. Yes, now we learn because it has to be. So yeah, so when we had a lot of feedback in social media, because like I said, our social media is like, you know, it's something that we look for, right? So when we do the listening, we know that, you know, Ava is misleading me in Thailand, especially in Thailand, because, you know, Thailand uses a different character, right? So English, Bahasa, not so much, but it's pretty much in that. Chinese languages, as we expected, because Chinese language was the first to be deflected, like, you know, over 90% or all self-serve in Ava, right? For Chinese languages. We're talking about both traditional, yeah, we were talking about both traditional and normal Mandarin, right? So, yeah. So hardest part is Thailand, but you must understand, you know, Thailand is the country that, you know, a bit far behind in terms of adapting such technology, and it still uses phone from probably 20 years back, right? So, you know, it comes from Thailand. And Indonesia was also a bit of struggle because the languages that they use, right? So we had our own, okay, one thing we are blessed is because we have our own agent. You know, we have Korean, we have Japanese, we have, you know, whatever you name it, right? So what we do is that we take them off and kind of like help to train and reword some of the scripts and flow so that it reflects to them culturally, and they become more engaged, and they feel much better when they go through Ava. It's not an offense to them when we say certain things that we shouldn't say, and we said it right.
Yeah, yeah. And I think when we work with bots and we work on projects with bots, right? Malaysia is one of the most challenging places to develop, to do chats, you know, to train our chatbot. Yeah, because of all the different languages and all the different slang words that are put in, right? And it's really hard for the chatbot to understand. Yeah, we built a dictionary, and it was crazy. Yeah, because you get the Malay expression of gitu. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So we do that, right? And then you know, from time to time, but because it's an artificial intelligence, coming back to you again, Satya, again, the choose that you what you choose your product, will it be able to do a self-learning? And Ava is at the capacity that she's able to learn. It's a learning machine, right? So it's a machine learning, so she's learning right now some of the things that she's able to correct and identify and detect. Are you referring to this and this and this and this? So it's a machine learning as well.
Yeah, I think something to add for everyone is something to bear in mind. When we talk about machine learning and we talk about AI learning, right, it really takes repetition and usage. Yeah, the higher the usage, the faster it learns. All right, so the higher the usage, the faster it learns. Failures of the companies or organizations that we work with in terms of implementing their chatbot is that they launch it, yeah, the customers don't like it, and they abandon it. All right, okay, and it's going to remain stagnant. You know, you have no choice. You have to keep using it. So the more it's used, the better it will learn. Right? It's just like your Google. It's just like your Siri. Right now, my Google, my Google, hello Google, my Google Assistant. All right, I can ask my Google Assistant now, what should I have for lunch? Okay, and my Google Assistant really actually understands nasi biryani. Okay, so I used to be nasi biryani, and it will come up with the nasi brine, nay, whatever, right? But now it understands. Yeah, I said, okay, where's the closest nasi biryani to me, right? And it picks it up, right? So it's a very simple example of that, right? And you can experiment with it, yeah. Okay, but the thing is, the more usage you see, the higher the usage, the better your chatbot will perform. All right, okay. Well, Billy has a question.
Yes, and I just answered. So she's asking, does Ava has her own CSAT? Yes, she does. She's over 80 right now. I mean, to be honest, when you first used, when we were below 40s, right? When we first launched her, we were below 40. Floyd, if you could remember that, right? She was below 40, and people were ranting in social media. And I guess that one thing about perseverance is that don't give up, just do it, right? So keep on going, because by the end of the day, when you make the change, your guests will have the benefit out of it, right? So yeah, so now she's in her 80s right now, and it took probably about a year and a half to build where she is right now. And we're still constantly changing her. Yeah, so we start in 40s, we took it easy, like Floyd, I want to answer your questions in terms of project management. What we did was we look at the inquiries inquiries from Ava, which one was the worst and highest. We don't take the worst, we took the highest interaction, and what kind of interaction would that be, and work on that flow one at a time. So we chart it out. We're going to do this, and that's how we do that timeline and all that. Pretty much, because it's quite, the sandbox is pretty much, it doesn't need Java, it doesn't need scripting, it doesn't need all this coding. So it's pretty much, quite advanced. You can actually do that in sandbox. So that's how we train them. And when it gets better, we move on to a new one. We want to move on to a new one, and into all the languages, now that we forget, not to forget the languages that we serve as well.
But before, just to touch on that, you were talking about the CSAT, right? And in the 40s, and now she's in her 80s. Congratulations, good work, guys. I know it's a long journey, it's a tough journey. But what are the data points that you look at? What are the individual KPIs that you look at in terms of a CSAT? Yeah. How did she get a score? What are the points that you look at? What do you call that? What's a word? What are the different parameters? There we go. Okay, what are different parameters that you are getting your points from in order to get a CSAT score?
Okay, so for Ava, she's supposed to take all the easy inquiries, right? Not easy inquiries. She's now be able to even move flight. She's able to move flight on her own. She's able to change flight for you as well. She's able to change flight. She's able to change flight. Yes, she can move the flight for you. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Oh, yes. We are so happy because, and all that. So we look at the inquiries that she should be sticking to, what she should be serving, and anything falls off. Let's say, for instance, I want you to be able to move flight. How many hands off to us is her KPI. So anything that is beyond to us. So we do have a similar KPI though, which is we don't do CSAT anymore. We change it to overall customer satisfaction for this year. Is overall. We changed that from OSAT we changed from CSAT to OSAT. So we carry the same. So we have that. We have customer reduced customer effort. We have that, but of course Ava doesn't carry that, because the customer effort comes with us in terms of the agent, so that agent could identify how much work does the guest needs to do in order for them to call us, right? How much effort or pain that the customer has to reach out to us. It could be wait time, it could be anything. So our wait time is all folded into these two KPIs. It's just that simple, Ken. And for, of course, the agents, they're going to build relationship with the guests. We can't wait to fly. We're able to kind of build the customer's portfolio. I mean, would you like to take up hotels with us? So that's more on the revenue. Just point you that Ava were able to also upsell baggage. She backed herself about 20. How much was it?
I'd like to know. Yeah.
She backed about, if I get the number right, so she backed about 70% of sales in of 20 million that we gather a year before that, she was able to do her revenue on her own. And, of course, our agent do the remaining balance of that as well. So it's like add baggage, yeah, add seats and all that. So she's able to do that.
I love it. I love it. You know why? Because Ava is putting the pressure on the team to upsell and cross-sell,
but Ava doesn't earn incentive and commission, so that goes to the agent, right? So we do that differentiate, right? So they earn the commission, they earn their incentive and all that from the agent. So they don't really see Ava as a threat, right, Floyd? I mean, they don't see that as a threat anymore. They see that Ava is just part of them, and hey, you better do your job, Ava, because if I take your call, or your chat, I'll make sure that you fix that. So that's how they see it. They work hand in hand. Billing has got a question. Would you say customer expectation with chatbot between it will be definitely totally different billing? Like I said, you got, coming from Etika, I know you got like 101, policies, different products altogether. You probably need to look at BigQuery. You probably need to do a BigQuery in terms of pulling all this, putting into a mind mapping first or data mining first, and then pull one platform into your chatbot. So that, and then you can look at expiry. You can start low as well, but customer expectation, I think, it pretty much similar. They were probably waiting for so long to get someone for a simple inquiry, while they can just use your chatbot to answer the question and get that question immediately, right? Unless you want to do self-serving, or you want to do upselling and all that. So the flow is what you design. So it's pretty much similar. Customer expectation, I think, is pretty much similar. I would say it's just that what you deliver is different from what the flow is. What is going to be a difference. Julia has a question. Is an automation system rule-based? What of the site will be handled by live system of the site? Okay, so it pulls back into one. So we do have a BigQuery at the back. We use an airline system, that holds all the information at the back. So she pulls that information to that. So it's automated from there. Agent, anything that is exceptional will be handed over to live chat agent, Julia. So anything that is outside the system automation, or something about maybe a high-risk transaction, would be needed by agents. So you need to define what is the low risk transaction, high risk transaction when you design that. Is the transfer seamless? Yes. So we do have a waiting room. During the COVID-19, we know the volume is going to high. We did tell that a waiting room, you're going to be number 20 in the queue, and it will take a minute. Yes.
That sounds really like the automation. You just throw a number randomly at the customer.
20 in the queue, because anything more 20, I go crazy. So 20 in the queue, and that will take you 15 minutes, X amount of time. Stay online, because if you stay online, your chances will get. If you're not, then you're going to go back to the queue again and go through all that process.
Since everybody is customer experience practitioners here, or part of the customer experience industry, right now, are all the numbers 20? Is everybody 20? Congratulations. Sorry, you are number 20 in line. You are number 20 in line. You are number 20 in line. Okay, never mind. Don't divulge any secrets, operational secrets. Okay. All right. Now that's I think that's a good question in terms of the boundaries, and also where does the handoff to live. Right, and maybe we can take it to live. Now, Ava handles the chats. Okay. However, there's also chats coming in from different channels on the social media platform, right? On the social media plane, right? You've got what channels are you on, right? And who handles live, and how many does Ava get involved in? What is your scope, right?
Okay, so Ava is in all channel. We've got all our Facebook. The only thing that Ava is not in is in Twitter. So Twitter, Floyd, my social media manager, manages that team. So he has a team that takes care of social media. So some of them, like anything in Facebook Messenger, Ava will be there for the guests. Anything that is under Twitter will be responded manually, but that's not going to be for long because we are working with Twitter to have the possibility of putting that. But Floyd does manage. So I just want to kind of like brief that Floyd takes care of two things, right? So he takes care of, you know, anything that comes in Twitter, pretty much high level stuff, anything about Tony, you know, anything about Daut or anything that is out of security. He does social listening, you know, for marketing campaign, for instance. What does it say about certain things? What are the top three? He looks at market as well, because the market in Singapore may not be the same as Malaysia, may not be the same as Taiwan, and all that. So he had that segmentized according to countries. And the listening is all in that language. So he does the scooping and what we listen. Okay, to ask Floyd a question. Are you comfortable, darling? Floyd, are you comfortable if people ask you a question?
Yeah, sure. No problem.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, B, do you mind? Yeah. Okay, let me just pop up a quick one to you, Floyd. All right, now the Malaysia. I know in the I'm guessing you're from the Philippines. Yeah? Right.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hello, Pinoy. Yeah. Okay. All right. So Malaysia Twitter usage is starting to come up on the increase. Yeah? Okay. You will see we're seeing a lot of Malaysians moving to the Twitter space. Okay. All right. And in Twitter Jaya, okay, in Twitter Jaya, as BFM likes to call it, right? Okay. In Twitter Jaya, I'm seeing a flurry of activity. Right? And a lot of the organizations are gearing themselves up towards Twitter. Okay. However, do share with us. Okay. Is there a difference handling Twitter compared to Facebook? Right? Because most everybody's platform are right now on Facebook. LinkedIn is mostly for business, so not an issue. All right. Okay. And Instagram is just more for casual and marketing. Okay. So the two main channels that people communicate a lot with is Facebook and Twitter. So since you manage the Twitter team, do you mind sharing a little bit about Twitter so the team, the people in here can get an idea of what it's like to be managing Twitter?
Yeah, sure. But first, I'd like to apologize for the background because I have roosters cockle-doodling. I live in a mountain. But yeah, I think that's a really valid question because, you know, having been doing social media for a long years now, I was able to understand different types of customers from different countries too. Like, for example, Indonesian customers or the market of Indonesia are really very into Instagram and Twitter, along with India. But when it comes to Malaysia, a lot of them are really very heavy into IG and Facebook. But in terms of managing, I think there's really no different. It's just that the difference really comes to the market. And then when you start doing things for a long time, you really get to understand how to approach these types of people and maybe the nationalities, right? So for example, when we deal with customers coming from India and Australia, these customers might be a little more demanding. Same with Singaporeans. So they could be on Twitter, they could be on Facebook, but it's really how you train your agents into approaching these different types of markets and nationalities when you assist these customers with whatever concerns they have. Sorry about that. Thank you. So yeah, that's it.
That's great, Floyd. Thank you.
There are several questions from Saliza and asks why Asia opted not to respond to comment on social media platform like Facebook. Okay, so we don't hide our comments. We don't not respond. We respond. Some guests did flooded us with, why did you pay our refund? But mind you, we do have an, ACE team. We call it the ACE team that is specialized on taking all the social cases on board, and we do deal with the guests. So no guest is dispatched. So anything on a social media, we call it as a high risk. We do reach out to the guests, and it really depends on the guests whether they want to take down or they don't, right? So we got nothing to hide. So we leave it the way it is, unless that, like for instance, the refund has been paid and they still continue to do so. There's nothing we can do to stop that, right? I mean, it really is the person's choice whether they want to continue doing that. So all these guests usually Floyd will flag it to us, and we will get someone to call or someone to email the guests. Usually we do call the guests, yeah. And how does Eva ability to handle complaint or have the emotional intelligence? Potential complaint. Okay, so if you're talking, sorry, it's a very heavy rain in my place. Okay, so Julia, you're talking about predictive analytical, yeah? So we still haven't got that yet built in, but we will soon. Everything stopped due to COVID-19. So we do have understanding about the keyword. Let's say, for instance, statute, if there's any bomb, you know, I got a bomb, I'm going to bomb your airline, that is flagged. So anything safety and security, we definitely will be, you know, handed over to a agent straight away. So these are the high risk transactions. So I want to make a complaint. You know, everybody can make a complaint, but we look at, you know, what kind of complaint that you do. Yes, you have to go through that. So yes, that's what it is. I hope, Julia, I answered your question. So whether she's there yet in terms of having that emotional intelligence, she's still learning. But what we're looking at, patching it up with predictive analysis that we are, you know, looking at Einstein to have that embedded. So she's very sales right now. So what we have is predictive. Is there is knowledge database, so which means that if I type in something in our environment, the system will prompt me what are the suitable answer or guide or macro in terms of the script that we can give to the guests. So it's just that it's not been built yet into Eva, but we're getting there.
We're getting there. I like that. That's a final touch. Yeah. And that's, I think, that when you do cross that bridge, yeah, and she is able, yeah, to have that emotional intelligence, right? I would be fascinated to see, you know, what how we get there and how she would perform. But trying to get her to be intuitive and to be predictive would be quite a challenge, right? It's a lot of work involved, right? But I think your team is fantastically geared for that. I actually have an additional question for Floyd. No, Tony, or actually Tony Fernandez is really famous for being on Twitter and answering it on his own behalf, right? Okay. So whenever he answers, does the team go, "Oh no, Tony's answered, Tony said something," no? That they all go into like a panic and, you know, and go into a control, you know.
Yes, that's right. Oh, sorry. Sure.
Go ahead, Floyd. Go ahead, Floyd. I mean, you know.
Yeah. So, well, I gotta be honest, right? Because Tony is a very blunt kind of person. So sometimes he really gets in there and answers right away, right? And that's when our communications team or maybe our legal team go panicking. But I think that shows how. It really shows how honest we are as a company as well. Having our CEO, you know, answering these questions and being really there for customers at the same time. So of course, if it's something really, really rude or something really serious, that's when we get involved and make it right for these customers. Because I believe these customers get to a point that they go to the bosses or to the CEO because there's really something wrong that they wanted to get fixed. And that's the time that we really need to make it happen for them, you know, and show how guest obsessed we are.
Yeah. Nice.
And the rooster say yes. The rooster is really part of our life.
Every time you do calls with Floyd, you'll hear the roosters, is it?
Okay.
All right. Okay. Good. Thank you for that. Yeah. Okay. Now, let's talk about the people and the team that we have. Now we've talked about Eva and how much of an asset and how well she has functioned. All right. Now I'm beginning to address her as like an individual now. Wow. Okay. It's contagious. All right. But in terms of the people, yeah, the team that handles the live calls. Now, where do you draw the line? What is the transition from Ava to live, right? We talked about how seamless it was, okay? But in terms of the skill sets that's required, yeah, let's touch on that, okay? The people that we need to be running this, yeah? Maybe you can give us a rough idea of the job description, okay, of all the happiness officers, right? And also tell us, you know, what were some of the things that they handle and what are some of the skill sets that they really need to be a digital agent in the future.
Okay, I'll take that one. So basically, our agents are multitask in terms of they can do web cases. Sorry, it's email. They can do live chat and they can do social as well. but the upgrade is as such. They will do live chat first. They will do live chat first. It's an end-to-end environment, just like how you answer your call. But social will require a certain social media skill, because that's the brand. I still remember we had Tony complaining, "Are you using copy and paste in your responses?" And I said, well, maybe. So we'll have it change. So yeah, so we're not afraid to tell you what we do well and what we not do well, right? So so we have that change. So I remember Floy and we do upskilling training. I think I spoke to you about that a couple of years back when we met. So we build our own training program, and Karina is my trainer here as well. So she is the one, she's the one who actually, hi Karina. So she's the one that actually make the change and, retrain the people, having the mindset changes. When it comes to social media, try to avoid copy and paste. We're not 100% yet, but we've got to make sure that every single thing that is personalized and to the need of the guest. So it's no longer copy and paste. We got to move from that. And the English that you use, the array and whether you're engaging or not is totally different when you do live chat. Yeah. So I can't say, oh, it's two different scat, but they have to master both. But they should be able to identify, okay, this is a live chat, this is how I say it, and this is social media, this is how I say it. So, and also the writing skill for email is another. So my team has got all that. When we train them, they may not have that. It's just a live chat, or probably can come for call center, but we do that from series of upskilling, right, Karina? And you're the person. She's the one. Yeah.
That's Karina. Let's see if we can find Karina.
That's Karina.
You wave.
You want to wave, Karina?
There we go.
Hi, everyone. I can.
I'll tell you right now, a lot of the contact centers that have chat, okay, are tussling with the challenge of how do you train your agent to do multiple chats at one time, all right, okay, and how many chats are they required to do at one time? Is there a KPI for that? Do they need to have at least 5 at a time or 6 at a time? Or
yes. So okay, so you got to balance between quality and quantity, right? So they must have a balance. That methodology doesn't go away since day one when we first started, right? So that's number one rule. So you got to balance, and balancing is not correct, not easy. So when we did a study benchmark with a couple of my EMs as well, we agree that that 3 capacity would be the best to benchmark with a good CSAT, so that the agent can focus with 3 chat rather than 5 chat. So we used to give 6, we used to give 5, but if you want to balance that out, 3 would, for us, it works with our AHT and all that. 3 is the best benchmark that we want to keep in terms of capacity. But again, it depends. So if your AHT is ranging between 100 seconds per chat, have 5.
Yeah.
Have 5. But if your AHT are very complex and you want to do sales or revenue generating and you need more time to engage, have just 3 or even lesser than that. If you could do that, you do that, right? But never go 1 chat at a time lah. So that's your, there goes your cost saving and your efficiency, right? So you got to balance that what you want and go by AHT as well. So this is the right sizing for your team. And I think the team are quite happy with 3 because they do see there's an increase in their quality, and they're able to fully serve the guests as well. And it depends on, in terms of productivity, we don't really put to your throat that you have to do this, because it depends on the hours that we put them. If you're on the peak hour, you get more chats. If you're on night shift, you get lesser chat. If you're early morning, you probably get half of the chat. So it really depends on that. So we don't really push it to their throat, like how many do you need, but we do look at any other call center measurement, your efficiency, how well you use your idle code, are you spending too much time on busy escalating what, right? So we do all that. So the basics still there, it doesn't go away. Yeah.
Okay, all right, brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, I know that that challenge between quantity and quality. Oh gosh, it will never end. I'm actually quite surprised and very happy for the agents that your target is only three, right? Three chats at a time, because I work with some operations, right, that require their agents, to do 7 to 9 chats at a time. Right, okay, 7 to 9 chats at a time. Yeah. So I know, it's nuts. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. But you know what? The guys have to cope. Yeah, but the quality drops. Yeah, and they are just looking for quantity. Yeah, and that's it. All right.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
yeah. But Ken, I wanted to also add something. When we designed, the upcoming one, you got to look at your call center as well, right?
Yeah.
Do you maintain your call center for a certain percentage of guests, a premier guest that you like to keep, or because we do have that call center, but it's only for our client support, which means that biggest travel agencies that have got that premier line to us where we
Right.
serve them, but they do have Ava as well. They do have Ava, but anything urgent, they can call us to a certain. So our X amount of client call, probably about 200 volume. So we do have that still, that we maintain that, while 95 or 99.5 is still on live chat and social media. So we do have that. So the design is super, super important, that you have to put in what goes to the premier line, I call it, or what goes to live chat, and not to confuse the team. You got to make sure that a lot of people fail in terms of designing the role, like how it looks like, what you do live chat and social media. There is a company that I visited, that the agent were put under tremendous pressure, where they have to do email, chat, and call 3 at the same time. That's killing. Yeah, that's killing the team. So how your design would look like, and your prioritization, still the same, like how you do it in call center principle, that needs to be looked at. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people are going through. Yeah, it is just part of that growing phase. All right, and you just got to really work out, what's the best balance for your people.
True.
Right, because
true.
everybody's going to start off with multitasking. You take calls, you answer your chats, you answer emails, right? So that's going to be prevalent. Yeah, that's going to be there for.
Yeah. So our primary contacts right now, email is the last on the list. It used to be on top. So email is something that we want to give away, and our emails right now is really not much. It's the least of the contact. So we're gonna phase that away. I mean, we do still have, especially complaint and all that. They have to have the avenue to complain. But usually, what we want to do complaint is to resolve it right away, right? So we are getting away from email. We're reducing it. Hey, Floyd, do you remember how many complaints we used to have? We used to have 40,000 complaints in email form, right? So to where we are right now, we're only getting about maybe less than 1,000 on good days, right? And that can just be cleared within 24 hours. So we're getting away that. We're going to deflect that more. So once we deflect that more, we will probably get down to just 20% of the emails that we attended manually. And that is the best technique I learned from people, because we use Cisco to deflect. So they use like some sort of chatbot intelligence. So what they do is that they do an FAQ, say, are you meaning you want this? So it's auto response. So anything that the FAQs cannot, system that Cisco cannot provide, then it becomes an email to us. So I would say deflection ratio in PayPal, when we first do that, that's around 70%. I mean, it's really low, but it's 70%. I think it's quite a good success as well. Yeah, something to think about email as well.
Yeah, but after hearing your number of complaints, 40,000 complaints, now I know why Floyd has the roosters in the background.
Yeah. If you don't hear from the rooster anymore, you know he has ended up in Jollibee, yeah, in Philippines.
That's scary. That's scary.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Deep, what we're going to do now is, I think as far as, the questions and your sharing, I think it's been fantastic. Thank you very much. All right, what I would like to do, is open up the floor, right, for questions, for anybody who have any questions, right? So I'm going to allow you to unmute, okay, and ask a question, right? But let's see if we can manage this. Yeah? Does anybody have any questions that you would like to ask? Go ahead and unmute yourself, and you should be able to ask the question, right? Anyone? No one. Wow.
Yeah, I think my team is okay. If you have any training questions, I think my trainers and our social media floor is becoming very popular now. So our social media manager can also take that one as well. Sorry, guys, to put you on spot, but hey.
That's
Thank you,
fantastic.
Alina.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dalina. I think that is a very, very good and extensive, in-depth explanation on the chatbot. I have also come a long way with AirAsia at the time during the complaint when we set up AIG as the first insurance with AirAsia. So that 3 years was a real pain. So I see that there is a lot of improvement coming from that side, especially when you go on fully automation. That means that this chatbot can actually helps and handles the change of flights, book the flights. And now, basically, what I can see this Ava is connected to the system. Whatever they can retrieve from the system, Ava can do. But whatever that is not, that is something that is actually routed to a live human.
That's correct.
Right? Okay, so which means you do have also a chatbot on live feed?
No, we don't. We only have AVA. That's the only AVA. We do have RPA though, robotic processing automation. So anything documentation and all that you wanna put through for validation, because there's not all inquiries can be completed on time, right? They require some documentations and all that. We also put in RPA, so you have a chatbot that interacts with another chatbot as well. So we have that.
Okay.
Yep. We soon got. Yeah, so there's a lot of chatbot talking to each other very soon. Yes. So yeah.
Good job. Thank you.
So potentially at one time, how many chatbots could be conversing?
It can, at this moment, there's three chatbots that's talking to each other.
Wow.
Yep. So we'll see how do we need more. We have Teleport who has got their own chatbot that's talking to Ava. We always call her the boyfriend, Ava's boyfriend.
Right.
We have one in at the back end that we're going to be integrated very soon with our baggage. So you want to track your baggage and all that, that's coming soon. I can't say much because it's coming soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Looks like it's going to be a love triangle. Huh?
It's going to be love triangle. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that, Julia. Thank you for that question. Thanks for the response, Adi. All right. Anybody else? Anybody else would like to ask a question?
Hi, Dalina. I'm Sadia here.
Hi,
Okay,
Sadia.
so hi. So you are going to say that in future for the even though for the contact center or any organization, the channel most probably is more to the live chat, social media, and in WhatsApp. Is it that is what you mean just now?
Yeah, so I call so social media, because we have I think we are ahead of time. So social media is just one of the platform that we use, right? So how do we position our social media is more so on educating, reaching out to the guests, more revenue based, and all that. But social media is one of the platform that we use. So and we integrate that using chatbot as well. So chatbot, all the social media, WeChat, we have Messenger, we have Twitter, and all that is considered part of platform. You may want to think about unifying them into one platform. Okay, so we have got so many platforms, right? But you want to unify them. So the key thing that you need to be looking forward is unified communication is something that you should be looking for. Now, I did not say go away with your call center, but what I say is that you may want to consider call center is one of your options, but exploring all other platforms as well. So it's a unified communication is the name, or is the two words that you want to be looking for. Unified communication. And call center, like I said, I mean, we don't have call center, but we do have people on the phones servicing a certain segment of guests, especially our VVIP and our Datuk and our Menteri. So that one you got call lah, kan? Yes. Because sometimes we have to do rescue flight, for doctors and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, but the dignitaries, the Datus and the Tan Sris, do they fly AirAsia?
They do lah.
They do,
They do.
Okay,
They do. Floy is nodding because we have to talk to. Yes, they do. But the phone, because we're working from home right now, as you can see, no one's in the office. But we divert the phone, the call center to a VIP, voice over. So it's all in their, mobile or in their system right now.
Oh.
Yeah. Azmi has a question for me. The RPA using by AA can also extract the text. It can. It depends on what you want, Azmi. There are two ways of doing that, yeah? Some high-end technology in RPA, I can't remember who's the provider, if you like. They can even read out your IC and all that and give you the match. That's how technology, how high, and on the high-end RPA, they can do that. They can also read 12 languages. 12 languages is the more major languages. Of course, we don't serve Sweden and all that kan kat Malaysia. So no need lah. So, like for 3 major languages, Chinese, traditional, simplified Chinese, English, Bahasa, there's already the ability to read the text, the ability to read even handwriting is already there out there. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I tell you, you can see eyes, you can see my eyes sparkle when you talk about, technology. There's so much thing that you can do to simplify your agent's life, right? And simplify the processes as well. But look, does it take away the agent's job? Not really. Like I said, we don't really do a retrenchment over the past year. In fact, we built that team up, right? We don't have additional, but we're able to still maintain the headcount that we have for 2 years or 3 years in a row right now. What we do is that ask them to do work differently. Like someone needs to validate the RPA, but it kind of like kills 80% of the time by the time of submission. You also save the agent's the customer's time by coming over to the branch, datang kat bank rakyat. You can check as me. So they have to come and submit, car park and all that. It saves the time. All you need to do is just scan. Like what I used just now, scan to fly. You can probably look at that. So that's RPA. Yeah, but it also depends, what you want. Like I said, even some of the company can even read handwriting. It is that detailed.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dee.
Thank you, Azmi.
Okay, can you share if is it possible? Can you share what the RPA solution that AA using currently?
We use Grey. There is one. Okay, we use Grey Matter is one of my slide. Kejap, I tak ingat offhand because there's too many. So we use Grey Matter. We use Grey Matter as our provider. I can through Ken, I can provide you the name because I remember. To be honest, I cannot just remember offhand.
Sure.
So yeah, I'll give you the one.
Okay,
yeah, I'll give you the name later on. Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, that's another question actually, Miss D. Okay,
Yes.
so it seems that in AA, okay, your social media team, right? Okay, does it which part actually is it under corporate comm or under marketing or under customer service, or which division actually the social media team?
So our design is as such. We keep the minimal on our marketing side. So we do have marketing. We work with social media is one, right? But customer service engaging is our team, which is Floy. That Floy manages and Shanti manages. So that is engaging. Anything servicing, our team will do. Anything publishing, the marketing will do. But we work hand in hand. So the engaging, the publishing, the marketing strategy comes from the marketing team. So this is with marketing team. So it's called sales and distribution lah. So we work very hand in hand with our with our team, marketing team. So we have every week we have Floy. Floy does things on her own. He's the most trustworthy, one of the AM that I would trust, besides Karina and Shanti. So what he will do that he will attend these meetings with a marketing representative from each country, because we got countries that we serve, and we walk through the campaign, the tactics, we call it the tactics, right? What they're gonna be presenting, what the answers is gonna be, what are the measurements gonna be, what is the, I would say, the listening that we need to extract from there. So we do everything else. We do engagement, we do listening, we do all that. All they need to do is just publish. And then we tell them whether it works or not. If they don't work, I tell you, take down your post, because it's killing the brand. So that's what we do lah, if I can say in that way. Yeah.
So okay, thank you. So it means that you have a good collaboration between marketing, your team, and as well as the social media team, right? Even though it is in a different department. Is it like that?
Not just
Right.
different department, different region. Absolutely, we're very close. We have okay. We don't use email anymore in AirAsia. We bypass that. Tony is going to kill us. We send him an email. Yeah, we don't use email anymore. We use Google. What do we use? Yeah, Google Workplace. So we have a group chat that we talk. So we have a social team, marketing. So social and marketing. So Floyd is there. I'm there. All the AMs, assistant manager, all the operation manager are there. So we calibrate really, really well. We meet once a week, every Tuesday, isn't it, Floyd? So we meet once a week and go through that. So we do have a great calibration with them. But one thing about AirAsia culture is that we don't kill each other. We work really well in terms of, hey, we got this, let's do that, let's come up with over that. So that's what we do. But we never communicate with email. We bypass email 3 years back. So we just don't use email anymore. We use Workplace, work chat. Yeah. So how many here say, hey, whoever used Google Meet, sorry, not Google Meet, whoever used Facebook work chat or Facebook Workplace, that's a fantastic tool that you guys should be thinking about as well, because we won't bypass the email.
I think everybody nowadays have already moved away from email. I think most everybody here chats on WhatsApp. Yeah, you communicate more on WhatsApp than you do on email, don't you? Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Okay.
Right, thank
you.
Thank you.
Dalina, I still have one question here. How do you divert all the customer into all these social media instead of using the email? For example, to Facebook, like you mentioned, they no longer use the email, but they are using the Facebook.
Okay, so basically what we do is definitely promotion on social media, right? So how do we position that? I forgot. I have a poster actually on a sample how we promote Ava on the questions. So we put forward we do a lot of engagement, right, Floyd? I think we come out with about 2 weeks or more, so 2 months campaign solely on we don't say, hey, don't use email. We don't say that, right? So what we do that, get your answers responded within 2 minutes. You have this issue, you click this type this like that. How we put videos in all languages. We have Thai languages that we put video, how Ava can help you. We use visual aids and we use social media to that extent, right? So we use a lot of social media so social media is part of your awareness on how digitalization, what have you been digitalized. I would say that's how I see it, right? So and we go really heavy on that one. We got all campaign lined out. We work with all the social media team and the marketing team that I mentioned to you guys about. Okay, so this is your calendar. We make sure that we have consistent, and when we blast something, we blast it all out, constantly and simultaneously in all languages. And I guess that works, yeah. But it doesn't get you like, okay, when I do that today, I get a reduction tomorrow. No, it has to be a certain period of seasonal, and you got to work with your, with your PR. You got to work with your comms team. Come up with nice visuals and great videos. That's how that's how, based on our experience, how we did it. Yeah.
But that is only if Ava is readiness is there. Am I right?
Yeah lah. If Ava don't ready, don't go out lah. Yeah. Right? Then you say self-embarrassment ma. So only do when you're confident you can go. But we go very, Julie, we go very in a milestones as well. So as we go along, okay, Ava can do a simple inquiry. We start with press release first. Right? So Ava can do a basic inquiry. Like when we started off, we go big, we can actually find out your flight status, for instance, because that's how we first started, to find out your flight status. Okay, you want to print your itinerary, all that we can do. Anything else, it becomes hands off to an agent. But when she becomes more stronger, like Move Flight, hey, we go big with that, man, because Move Flight is the highest transactions, a high risk transaction that we really want to deflect in Ava, and really go big with that, because that time we confident can do, right? So nothing that what you need to feature to your guest or to your customer, what you can do now, and let that go along with your social media team. to have that promoted. And while you have that, let's say, assume you use chatbot and everything else, you do this.
So which means in order for you to have that chatbot, you are using one system or a multiple system, like in most of the industry, we have legacy system. That means it's so old that you can, it's just not connecting.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I just mentioned just now, you need a BigQuery system to that. You can use Social Studio to do that, right? You need to learn Python. You need to have the technology guys, tech guys to come in. Your tech team is your best friend, okay? So yes. So, I make sure they're my best friends because, you want them to deliver as soon as possible for you, right? Yeah. So I mean, I can relate to Billy because she's my friend and we've been together for a long time. I know exactly what her pain is, right? So we've got so many legacy systems, but what you need to think that you need to phase out certain things as well and do data migration into your big system, right? So while you do that, does not mean that you can hold you don't need to hold back to your automation. What is your percentage of volume that comes from which system the most? Start with that first on your automation and then work along your silo system that you had at the back. So and then when you do that, you need to have a customer interface, probably a CSM, a customer service management that you need that can pull. So just one system from the back of the data, the BigQuery, your big data, and then you need one CSM to regulate that, and that's all you need. Yeah. So yep. So you need to do horizontal, you need to do vertical as well. Julie, good luck with that. Tell me how it goes.
Thank you.
All right, that's wonderful sharing. Yeah, that's wonderful sharing. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call it the wrap sphere. Okay, maybe we can take one more question. Yeah, let's see if we have any more questions. Yeah? Can we just do one more question, one last question?
I have a question.
Yes.
Hi.
Farah.
Yes.
I have a question, Kak Dee. Okay, I just want to check before you even launch the Eva, right? How long it takes for you to do the preparation to make sure everything is in order before you even launch that particular?
Okay, I hate to say this, don't follow AirAsia. Anything below 90 days, and nothing goes more than 90 days. Everything has to be less than 90 days. Okay, that's all we have. We do okay, so this goes back to Floyd. So anything because that's how we do it, because we have a 90-day plan. Nothing goes more than 90. You only have something, you got to launch it within 90 days, right? So when we do that, of course you have a tech team that you need to work with, right? Tackle your hanging fruit first. Always tackle your hanging fruits. How much can you do this, right? And usually, mind you, the simplest inquiry will usually take away 40% of your pain, right? I mean, the worst one. Trust me, like, yes, like, check, change name on address, for instance, I mean, name correction, right? So that's the highest for us, right? And now Eva can actually do the correction for you as well. So, but we didn't have that at the beginning because that's the most complex. So when we launched it, we launched yang paling simple, the most easiest, the most, the most easy lah, the most easy one. And then you go to the complexity. So sort out your complexity first. Within that 90 days, what will be your deliverables will be. Can this be within 2 weeks? Can it be 3 weeks? And you got to chart that out, right? So anything big,
I
like
have
for
a question. Let's see if
Yes, please go ahead.
Sorry, Kak. Okay, for example, let's say now Eva currently can do a name change, but how about documentation? Do you guys have a backend team that do a verification and then put in the request to Eva back, or is it Eva automatically, do the changes? How does it work?
So Eva does the correction herself. Doesn't require a human to do it.
Verification required.
God, of course, God lah. High risk way, but we do that at the last. Because it's high risk. So she doesn't do name change. Name change is account takeover ma. You guys work in a bank, you cannot lah. Account takeover cannot. So it's a name correction, like 2 characters, 3 characters. She can change that because usually kadang-kadang you forgot to put Mr. lah, Mrs. lah, Puan jadi Tuan lah. So that can be changed immediately. So of course there is validation that you need to do that, and that's where your RPA kicks in. If you need a documentation, as valid proof as an audit, you need to have that document. You then integrate with RPA. If you don't, if you're happy, as long as the answer matches with what your backend, and that is, of course, lepas audit, lepas internal, your compliance team, okay. But of course, whatever that you do, you have to have your technical team, you have your compliance, you have to have your, you know, your audit so that they don't come after you lah, kan? So you got to make sure that you get all that bypass first.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense. Thank you so much, Eddie.
You're welcome.
Brilliant. Thank you. Now, I think that final answer and that final interaction really encapsulates who you are, Dee, right? Excellent intensity, excellent knowledge, yeah, excellent energy and excitement. Thank you very much for that. Okay.
I'm still learning. Thank you, Ken. Thank you. I'm still learning, and I'm still, you know, and some of the questions I still, you know, it triggers me that, you know, will I need to look at that as well? So that's a very good one as well. So thank you. I have a very good participation rate, and maybe look out for Eva can talk as well in the next couple of years time. So if she can talk.
Wow.
Yes,
I hope they use your voice.
No, of course not. It's like I have a man's voice, like, you know, maybe somebody else better lah. Good, you know, good, maybe a celebrant, you know, we'll see how it goes. But that's what we're looking at, interactive voice bot. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. I can't wait for that. Yeah, and the next wave of technology.
Yeah.
I think just to summarize the whole webinar, I think we've spoken about so many different areas. I think the most important things that we need to really reel in is to realize that, you know, we are moving towards digitalization. We are moving towards social media as a channel for communications. That's where all our customers are. But we really do need to know, okay, what the customers want, yeah, and how it is that we're going to be able to deliver what we need to deliver to the customers, okay? And at the end of the day, it's always being guest obsessed, isn't it? Right? To be customer obsessed, yeah, to be customer focused into everything that we do. At the end of the day, it's always about checking back and saying, is it working? Is it not? All right. Now, don't do a shock scenario or, you know, our process are fantastic. We're following everybody else. Everything's working well, but then your customers aren't happy. Yeah. So at the end of the day, that's what the customer experience aspect of it is. And there are a lot of areas that I want to talk about, but we didn't get a chance to. Right. For example, you know, we talk about digitalization and customer experience. You know, how do we traverse over to the customer experience? How do we define the customer experience in digitalization? Maybe a webinar for another time.